Hey y'all, so today we're going to talk about, is buying a mobile home right for you? So this kind of goes along with the video episode 6 where we did like a virtual walkthrough of the mobile home, and we're just going to talk about that. So I've lived in two mobile homes over the years, and there's one I bought and one I rented, and both times that I've lived in these homes, they were during seasons of change and growth and just different things. So rewind back to 2007. Our family was growing. I just had baby number 4. We needed more space. We needed more land. We needed more room to grow, and less of a mortgage for sure. So enter the double wide. It was on 2 or 3 acres. I really can't remember. I remember it was $35,000, and so our mortgage was like dirt cheap, but it was totally hideous on the inside. It had burgundy, like wall-to-wall carpet. All the countertops were navy blue Formica. I think I talked about in the last video. There was that apple wallpaperish drywall, whatever it is in trailer homes that they have, not drywall, but the whatever. It had apples all over it. And so, but our plan was to have this home, this mobile home, and then to build our dream home. Obviously, that didn't happen. Plans change, things change. So being kind of content and the good enough home and that concept that I have is that you don't stop dreaming. You're content with where you are on the way to where you're going. So anyways, but you know what the best part about that trailer was? It was mine. I didn't have to answer to anyone. I could do with it what I wanted. We did redo it. We did painting. We did floors. And we resold it for a little bit of a profit. It wasn't like an astronomical profit, but we made money on that home. And it served us for that season in our life. Okay, so fast forward to 2020, and 2 more houses later, we go to a single wide trailer that we actually rented. And this was during a season of kind of pain in our life. We were going through, some marital troubles. It ended up in a separation and a divorce. And now actually, I'm glad to say that we are back together. We just got engaged again. So it all came full circle. But anyways, it was a season of hardship and change. We sold our big family home. It sold way quicker than we thought, and we had to get out, and we needed a place to go, and renting the single wide trailer was actually one of the only options that was available at the time. A friend had it. They let us rent it. The one thing I remember so distinctly about this trailer, it was like the Realtree camo edition. So in the living room, there was like inserts, that same wallpaper board, whatever's in the trailers, had the Realtree camo. And so we just worked with it. We were grateful to have a place to stay. And again, it served its purpose in the season of life that we were in. So let's get on, and we can talk about some of the pros for having a trailer or a mobile home, affordability and freedom. So living costs are manageable. You obviously probably have a decreased mortgage, or sometimes, if you get an older model, you could pay cash for that. Decreased utilities, decreased maintenance. Of course, there will be maintenance things you have to do, but trailers normally are smaller than normal homes, and so it's less of an expense probably than if you had some 4,000 square foot home or something like that. It can serve as a fresh start for you and people, whatever season of life you're in. It's a way to stabilize. If you're going through something difficult, if you need to save some money and you need to downsize, or if you start over, you're starting over again in life for whatever reason. If you're trying to get out of debt, it's a great way. It still can be yours. You're owning it, but it's just a smaller, what's the word I'm looking for? Smaller debt, I guess. Smaller payments. And I don't know if you've ever been debt-free, but being debt-free is a very, very peaceful and freeing way to live. When you know that you don't owe anyone, the money that you're making is going to something, whether it's investments, to your savings, to your retirement, to whatever. Not owing anyone is an awesome feeling. So again, freedom to do as you please. It's yours. You can design, you can paint, you can upgrade, you can tear down, rip out, whatever you want to do, it's yours to do it. And then so I like to use the word, instead of small, we use the word cozy. So one of my sons, he's always very positive and upbeat, and where people would say, oh my gosh, this is so small, he'd be like, no, it's cozy, Mom. It's just real cozy. I'm like, yeah, that's a great word. So it's easier to clean and maintain because you don't have as much space. And then it comes, and that kind of brings me into the next point, very intentional living. You can't just fill it up with, and this goes really for any small space, just random knickknacks and things. What you bring into your home has to be intentional. It serves a purpose. It has a place. And I think that can go with really any size home. But, the smaller your home is, the more intentional I think you have to be with what you're bringing into it, because otherwise it's just going to look like a hoarding, cluttered mess. Okay, so some of the challenges might be depreciation. So if you spent $50,000 on a mobile home and then you've lived in it for 20 years and you go to sell it, probably not going to sell it for $100,000. That's just the way it is. I mean, the land will hold the value, but the trailer is not going to hold as much value as, I guess, what we consider a normal standalone single family home. But there's other options. If you have the land and your trailer's paid for, people will sell the trailer and upgrade to a newer model. They might live in that mobile home space while they're building their house. Was my plan with the original trailer, but that didn't happen. And you can still sell it. You just have to be realistic with what you're going to get out of it. It's not going to be an astronomical profit, especially if it's farther down the line. And then we go into, and this is more maybe psychological, but the stigma of living in a trailer. People are so judgmental, and it's like you're less than because you live in a mobile home. Like you're not as sophisticated or upscale or whatever you want to say if you live in a mobile home. But honestly, the older I've got, the more that I kind of lean into this. People's opinions don't matter unless they're contributing to my household bills. If you're not contributing to my household and paying for my things, then your opinion doesn't matter. I mean, you can say what you want, you can do what you want, but I'm not going to take what you say to heart, because I don't want to say you don't matter, but other people's opinions don't matter unless they're in, your circle, paying your bills, doing your thing. And I think it was Mel Robbins has the book and the quote, like, let them say what they want, let them think what they want, let them do what they want, but just let them. Who cares? So when we talk about like designing and doing different stuff to trailers, and this really for a lot of homes anyways, obviously if you have a newer home, you're probably not going to have to do a lot of updates, but newer model trailers, I don't know if you've looked at these recently, but they have some really high-end bells and whistles finishes. And you can get them cheaper than you would, a normal home with all the upgrades. So really I'm talking about the older models, the fixer-upper trailers, if you want to call it that. So if you've watched me for 2 minutes or more, you know that my biggest updating trick, I don't know if you want to call it, my number one go-to is paint. Paint everything. Paint the walls, paint the countertops, paint the cabinets, paint the vanities, paint the doors. Do it. Paint can update such a space in such a big way, and it's not very expensive to do. Upgrade your lighting. Do area rugs, curtains. We always talk about from the ceiling to the floor. That goes for window curtains, shower curtains. It just draws your eye up and makes the space look bigger. Upgrade your fixtures, your cabinet, like, the pulls. You can even spray paint these if, that's a cheaper way to do things. Upgrade your faucets as you have time. But also just lean into some of the eyesores. In the video in episode 8, it had that yellow bathtub. I don't know if you remember it. If you didn't see it, you should go back and watch it. But I did an AI rendition, and you should go over to the community tab and look at that, how we could just lean into it. If we didn't have money to replace the bathtub, just lean into the design. There was one house I had, God, we called it the pink nightmare bathroom. It had the pink, like 1970s tile on the wall. I think it was like the half wall was all pink. The shower was pink. The floor tiles were pink. Everything was pink. But I didn't have money to rip it out. So I got a nice white. I got that like shabby chic shower curtain. I forget what else we did in that house, but we just had to lean into it. I couldn't do anything about it. So we just did what we could to make the best of what we had. All right, so trying to just look at my notes. So, and this kind of concept just doesn't apply to trailers, but to any home. So we put so much pressure on ourselves to make our homes look like everyone else's. You've seen them, HGTV, big influencers. Your home doesn't have to be magazine worthy to be meaningful. It just has to hold your story. And the most important part of any home are the people that live in it. And I think it was Maya Angelou that said, people aren't going to remember what you said or what you did. They're going to remember how you made them feel. And it's the same with your home. Your home should give off a warm and loving and caring vibe. And people aren't coming to see you because you have a gourmet kitchen and designer rugs all through your house. It's the people. It's the vibe of your home. And you create that by being you. And so what you have is good enough. But that doesn't mean you stop dreaming and you stop having goals and you stay stagnant. It means that you're grateful and content where you are on the way to where you're going. So, and one room at a time, one project at a time, and you'll get there. It doesn't have to, everything doesn't have to be so instantaneous, instant gratification. Things will come in time, and that's okay. And just embrace where you are. All right, y'all. So it was great having this little conversation. Subscribe, follow for more, and I'll see you in the next listing. Bye.